This week in AI, Jepu AI, OpenAI, ByteDance, and Baidu all made moves that actually change how these systems get used. Jepu AI released GLM-5, an open-source model that now leads reliability benchmarks by refusing to hallucinate. An open-source agent framework called OpenJuan pushed autonomous agents to almost human-level task performance. And OpenAI quietly upgraded deep research inside ChatGPT, shifting it from a wait-and-see tool into something you can actively control. At the same time, ByteDance accelerated its next-gen video model, CDance 2.0, while Baidu rolled out a global AI-powered knowledge and search push. This isn't just a busy news week, it's a signal that AI is moving from chat to real work. Let's start with the part that feels small on paper, but changes real behavior. OpenAI's deep research overhaul inside ChatGPT. Deep research used to be a fire-and-forget experience. You'd run it, wait, and hope the output landed where you needed. That's changing. Reports indicate OpenAI quietly redesigned deep research into something closer to a guided session. Users can now constrain searches to specific websites, pull context directly from connected apps, and interrupt the research mid-run to redirect or refine without starting over. That matters because research isn't linear in real work. Analysts, journalists, founders, they don't just wait for results, they steer. And OpenAI finally aligned the tool with that reality. They also introduced a dedicated full-screen review mode, which sounds cosmetic but makes citation-heavy outputs far easier to verify and trust. Under the hood, deep research reportedly moved to GPT 5.2, reinforcing OpenAI's direction toward agent-style workflows. Browsing, synthesis, tool use, iteration, not just single-shot answers. There's growing speculation around GPT 5.3, especially after GPT 5.3 codex surfaced on the coding side. But for now, the signal is clear. OpenAI is optimizing for repeatable, controlled work, not novelty. And that connects directly to another rumor with real implications, a first-party skills layer inside ChatGPT. Think installable, editable workflows with defined constraints and outputs. Not prompts you rewrite every time. Reusable procedures. If that ships, it becomes a native way for teams to standardize internal processes without building full custom agent stacks. That's a quiet power shift. Now, let's talk about the moment that genuinely surprised people. An open-source agent framework called OpenJuan, through agents named Deep Agent and Deep Search, just posted numbers that stop sounding like demos and start sounding like benchmarks. Deep Agent scored 91.69% on the GAIA benchmark, which tests real agent behavior, planning, tool use, reasoning, execution, and recovery from failure. Humans average about 92%. That's not symbolic proximity. That's practical parity. For context, earlier models like GPT-4 reportedly sat around 15% on the same benchmark, even with plugins. GAIA is hard to gain because it evaluates the entire process, not just the final answer. One demo shows Deep Agent taking a cooking video, extracting ingredients, searching for them online, comparing prices, adding items to a cart, then handing control back before checkout. That's not chat. That's delegation. What makes it work isn't raw model size, it's architecture. The system runs dual internal loops. One executes tasks, the other monitors outcomes and corrects mistakes. If something fails, it rolls back, adjusts, and retries instead of pushing forward blindly. It also maintains layered memory, rules, conversations, project context, compressing intelligently so long workflows don't collapse halfway through. Deep Search, the companion agent, leads the BrowseComp++ benchmark at around 80% accuracy, handling multi-step research, entity tracking, source validation, and parallel reasoning paths instead of guessing one route and hoping it works. It explores multiple paths and keeps the strongest one. That's how humans research. And now agents are starting to do the same. This sets the stage for the biggest model release of the week, GLM-5 from Z.ai, also known as Jepu AI. GLM-5 isn't just another scale bump, it's a statement about reliability. The headline that made people stop scrolling was its hallucination score, -1 on the AA Omniscience Index. Negative sounds bad. It's actually excellent. It means the model reliably says, "I don't know," instead of fabricating answers. That's a 35-point improvement over the previous version, and reportedly puts it ahead of major US models in reliability, specifically because it refuses to guess when uncertain. Underneath that behavior is serious scale. GLM-5 is described as 744 billion parameters using a mixture of experts' design with about 40 billion active per token. Pre-training data sits at 28.5 trillion tokens. At this size, architecture alone doesn't solve the problem. Systems engineering does. To train it efficiently, Jepu built a custom reinforcement learning engine called Slime. Traditional RL bottlenecks because slow tasks block faster ones. Slime avoids that by letting training attempts run asynchronously, so nothing waits on the slowest step. They also introduced a system called April, targeting inefficiencies that can consume over 90% of RL training time. The training stack is split into 3 coordinated systems. One trains the model, another generates experience data, and a central hub manages and reuses that that data. Crucially, the model is trained on long horizon tasks, where it must try, observe outcomes, adjust, and retry, closer to how humans learn than one-shot answering. On the deployment side, GLM-5 integrates DeepSeek sparse attention, enabling a 200,000 token context window while keeping inference costs practical. That's not a bragging number. It fundamentally changes enterprise workflows. Entire codebases, long contracts, multi-file briefs all stay in a single working context without constant loss of coherence. GLM-5 also pushes hard into end-to-end knowledge work. Its native agent mode can output finished files, DOCX, PDF, XLSX, not just text. The pitch is simple. Humans define quality gates. The AI executes subtasks. That's what they call agentic engineering, and it's aimed squarely at office workflows, not chat. Benchmarks support the claim. Artificial Analysis ranks GLM-5 as the strongest open-source model currently available. Jepu reports 77.8 on SWE-Bench Verified, beating Gemini 3 Pro and approaching Claude Opus 4.6. On Vending Bench 2, a business simulation, GLM-5 ranked first among open models with a final balance exceeding $440,000. The takeaway isn't reasoning alone, it's task completion in structured environments. Pricing reinforces the strategy. GLM-5 launched on OpenRotor on February 11, 2026 at roughly $1 per million input tokens and $3 per million output tokens. Compared to Claude Opus 4.6 at $5 input and $25 output, it's dramatically cheaper for near-frontier performance. There's also confirmation of a long-running rumor. Jepu AI was behind Pony Alpha, a stealth model that quietly dominated coding benchmarks before its identity was revealed. That's not accidental. It suggests a pattern of validating performance first, then revealing ownership later. Not everyone is celebrating. Lucas Peterson from Andon Labs warned that after reviewing GLM-5 traces extensively, the model appears extremely effective, but less situationally aware, achieving goals aggressively rather than reasoning deeply about broader context. He referenced the classic paperclip maximizer problem, an autonomous system optimizing relentlessly without understanding what truly matters. That concern ties directly into enterprise governance. Once models move from chat to autonomous work across files and applications, permissions, and human-in-the-loop controls stop being optional. They become critical infrastructure, and markets are starting to notice. Following GLM-5's release, Jepu reportedly raised prices on its GLM coding plan by around 30% due to demand. Its shares jumped as much as 34% in Hong Kong. Model launches aren't just technical events anymore. They're competitive signals with real financial impact. Meanwhile, competition in China is accelerating fast. ByteDance is pushing Sedance 2.0, a generative video model still in testing but already drawing strong reactions from demos. Several Chinese labs are racing releases ahead of an anticipated DeepSeek reveal during the February holiday window, with Alibaba's Qwen 3.5 also expected soon. It's a land grab phase. Incentives, promotions, early access, all aimed at locking in users before performance gaps close completely. At the same time, Baidu launched Baidu Wiki, a global Wikipedia-style platform available in multiple languages. It reportedly hosts around 1 million AI-translated entries and mirrors Baike, which has over 30 million entries domestically. But the tension is obvious. Baike follows Chinese censorship rules and has faced criticism for missing political content, hosting pseudoscience, and copying from Wikipedia without attribution. Baidu is also consolidating its ecosystem, ending support for the standalone Baike app, moving access into its main app, and rolling out global search features tied to Ernie Assistant. They claim over 200 million monthly active users, which matters even if trust questions linger. Distribution at that scale is leverage. So what does all of this add up to? Agents are no longer experimental. Open source systems are reaching human-adjacent performance. Models are shifting from answering questions to completing work, and markets are reacting in real time. This isn't about who tops the leaderboard this week. It's about who controls workflows next. Leave a comment with what stood out most to you. Subscribe if you want more breakdowns like this. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.